Of violent protests at yet another Trump event, this time in Anaheim, California. That city, as you can see here, played host to the chaos just last night where anti-Trump protesters, as they had the night previous in Albuquerque, New Mexico, clashed with supporters. Several people in Anaheim were arrested. To discuss it all, Chief White House correspondent Major Garrett now joins us from the CBS News Washington Bureau. And Major, again, the polls suggest there are folks here in the United States objecting to a potential Trump presidency, but now we hear the president speaking to concerns that he has heard globally. What to make of his comments?
Very straightforward. You don't need to really translate what the president said. He laid it out very carefully, that there are concerns expressed about Donald Trump to him as leader of the United States as he encounters either diplomats or world leaders in travels or by telephone or through ambassadorial contacts, of which the president has many around the world. And I will tell you, Josh, for those of us who are in the reporting world, who have friends who are CEOs or travel around the world or talk to members of Congress who also talk to diplomats, I can say what the president described is true. There is a great deal of curiosity and in some cases alarm about what Donald Trump has said about U.S. national security and international policy should he become president. Now, there is a political component to this, obviously. The president is trying to indirectly buttress the argument of both Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, who have said Donald Trump is a risky prospect as a future president. So there is some rational basis and factual basis for what the president said, but there's also a bit of politics.
And there is, within his own party as well. We know now that scheduled phone conversation between Trump and House Speaker Paul Ryan did happen yesterday. It was said to be productive. But it also came a day after another ad hominem attack by Trump, this time on New Mexico Governor Susana Martinez, who is a rising star in the GOP, someone the speaker, in fact, called a friend as he rather tersely dismissed, really, Trump's swipe. So beyond the disunity that it does suggest, it also seems just the sort of action that Ryan and so many others in the GOP still find worrisome here.
Exactly. It gives them pause. It places the air brakes around the idea of an endorsement of Trump. And it wasn't just Paul Ryan. John Kasich went to Twitter, so did Jeb Bush, all coming to the defense of New Mexico Governor Susana Martinez. And it's clearly a fight that there was no real reason for Trump to pick, other than he knows he can pick them, he wants to pick them, and he likes to put Republicans on notice. But as you're trying to build party unity, doing that makes all of that much more difficult, creates more animosity, creates more resistance. And when you have it still coming from the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, and then now Jeb Bush, John Kasich, and others, it creates an image problem and a practical problem. And Trump gives lip service to this idea of party unity and being a standard bearer for all Republicans, and yet he makes moves like this, which undercut it quite publicly.
And it also came as we saw another really layer of messaging, if you will, from his campaign chairman, chief strategist Paul Manafort, who said that the general election, as far as Manafort sees it, is not going to be a hard race as long as folks like him do their jobs. With the polls suggesting what they are suggesting, what to make then of some rather frank comments from Manafort, who also spoke to a likely VP pick, at least who it will not be, a female candidate or perhaps a minority candidate who he said would be seen as pandering to the electorate.
Right. So Paul Manafort sat down with Howard Feynman of the Huffington Post, and much of what he said about the race publicly in that interview, he has said to me privately, which is this race is winnable just so long as Donald Trump is not the issue and Hillary Clinton, change, outsider versus insider is. Manafort is very confident about that. But if Trump becomes the issue and is viewed as disqualified or worrisome or dangerous to be the President of the United States, then Manafort concedes Trump could very well lose. And that is the essential pivot point for this election from the Trump campaign inner circle point of view. Is the question for the voters change, insider versus outsider, the Obama administration record and Hillary's extension of it? If that is, Trump believes he can win. If it's Trump and all of his past history and the volatility that he may bring to the White House, then they lose. The other part about the running mate issue is, of course, Trump would never suggest that he was pandering in politics. Nobody does that with a vice presidential running mate pick. But for Manafort to say it so clearly and unambiguously suggests that Trump is going to do what he has said he wants to do, which is pick a Washington insider, probably a man, probably a white man, to be his running mate to reinforce his own perspective on winning the White House his way and his way only.
Until perhaps he says something entirely different tomorrow. Major
Entirely
Garrett.
different tomorrow. Always possible.
Major, we appreciate the time.
Thanks.